Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 164 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. A fun fact about 164 is that it is the sum of two square numbers, 10 squared plus 8 squared, which is 100, plus 64, which equals 164. Today, we'll talk about the unstoppable Ma Long and his victory at the China Open, the service rules, and in the questions, we'll discuss footwork drills for moving in and out, serving really fast, robots, and table tennis blades. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and a little bit of a different time slot. We've had to go to this morning because last night that internet connection just wasn't working well enough. So hopefully this morning it's good.
Absolutely, Alois. Now, how does that mess with your this day in history? Because I'm sure you would have prepared a lot, and then we've changed days now.
It's all right. I've got two, Jeffrey.
Oh, awesome.
So yesterday's this day in history, which is Monday, was oh, that's right. Yeah, very interesting one here, Jeffrey. It was International Biodiesel Day, in remembrance of when Rudolf Diesel's engine, powered by a biofuel, ran on its own power for the first time. And the year was 1893. So yesterday was International Biodiesel Day. I bet you didn't know that one, Jeffrey.
I did not know that. And can you top that and make an even more interesting this day in history for today, Tuesday?
Yes, indeed. So Phobos and Deimos were discovered today.
What were?
Phobos and Deimos.
What are they?
Mars's two moons, Jeffrey.
Discovered
they were
today?
discovered in 1877. Well, not today, 1877 today. So
wow, that's interesting. You know, maybe we should just do a show just on fun stuff that happened on this day.
Exactly. Now you're talking.
All right. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, Alois, is the China Open and Ma Long. He's just unstoppable.
Yeah, it was good. He was definitely good, old Ma Long, wasn't he? He beat Zhu Xin in the final. I'm just going to Spinified to get the results up. So, beat Zhu Xin in the final, 4-1. Early looked like Zhu Xin was in with a chance. Ma Long was up 10-6 in the first, and Zhu Xin came back and won that game. Then Ma Long won the second really easily. Then the third, it just started to get away from Zhu Xin. Interesting, Zhu Xin's body language didn't look fantastic. He just looked a little bit lethargic, or a little bit not quite focused, not quite there. Whereas Ma Long, as always, just the bulldog, was in there fighting hard for every single point. And I think in the end that was
interesting, Alois, because Ma Long seems to have got Zhu Xin's measure lately, from what I can see. So Ma Long now 3 times in a row, back to back at the China Open. He beat Zhu Xin in the final this year and last year, and then beat him when they played in the final at the Kuwait Open earlier this year as well. So, maybe that's something to do with Zhu Xin's body language.
Yeah, maybe. In just looking at their games, Ma Long's got his two sides. He's got his backhand and forehand. And Zhu Xin has to work so hard with his footwork, to get around and play his forehand. And Ma Long they obviously see a lot of each other, train a lot with each other. And Ma Long now almost looks like he can just pick off where Zhu Xin's going, like Zhu Xin's going out wide to Ma Long's forehand, and he's just sort of sitting there waiting for the block. So I think, a little bit of that as well. Ma Long definitely on top. The other big story of the men's singles was Yuya Oshima from Japan, making it through all the way to the semi-final. and had 3 4-3 victories on his way. So first up, beat Ovcharov first match, then beat Koki Niwa, his compatriot, 4-3 in the second round, beat Chang Chiuan 4-3 in the quarterfinal, and then
who beat Zhang Ziker.
That's right, who beat Zhang Ziker. And then in the semis went down to Ma Long 4-3. So the only one to really push Ma Long in the tournament. Oh, yeah. Having said that, first round, did you see that result? Ma Long played Antoine Hachard from France and won 4-2. So don't know what was going on there. Haven't seen the match at all. Would be. I don't know Antoine Hachard at all, so it'd be interesting to see his game.
Yeah, from France, ranked 111 in the world, 28 win-loss record in 2015 on the Pro Tour. So, decent player.
Obviously, yeah. So anyone that can get 2 games off from Ma Long is okay in my book.
Yeah, and 21 years old, Antoine Hachard. So there you go. Interesting stuff, Alois. And how was the
women's singles? Another upset. So Zhu Yuling winning the final. So and on the way beat the 2 World Championship finalists, beat Lu Shiwen 4-2 in the semi, and then an absolute smacking of Ding Ning in the final, 4-0. And it looked comfortable. Yeah, it looked comfortable too. Again, Zhu Yuling looks like she's really stepped up a level. And for Rio next year, I reckon she has thrown her hat well and truly into the ring to challenge those other 2 for the title.
Interesting, because the China Open's a big tournament, like you said, and if you can win that tournament, yeah, you certainly have staked your claim for Rio. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, as we talked about, I mean, the field for the China Open is probably stronger than the field is going to be in Rio, given the number of Chinese players that were allowed to play. So, yeah, big win for Zhu Yuling.
Zhu Yuling, indeed, who I think is just turned 20, Alois. So
still very young, yeah.
Absolutely, plenty of upside there. All right,
Indeed.
well, excellent. Another great tournament by the ITTF on the World Tour. Great to see. And, let's wait for the next one. Exciting stuff. Now, yesterday's PingSkills question of the day was, who will win the men's and singles at the China Open? Well, it wasn't yesterday because it was actually Friday. But anyway, how did people go? Did anyone pick the winners?
No, not really. Well, no, I have to say, Ankush picked Ma Long halfway through, and George Christou said Ma Long as well. So, early up, Kit said Zhang Ziker, but he went down very early in the tournament. So to Chuang Chiuan, Ma Long a popular win. So George said Ma Long too dangerous and effective with the forehand. It will be the difference. Well, you might have been right there, George. So, there you go.
Very good. All right, that moves us on to the PingSkills question of the day, which is, do you boost? So jump onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/PingSkills, or onto our blog at pingskills.com/tabletennisblog, and let us know, do you boost? Really interested to find out about your answers to this one. Okay, now let's get onto a discussion, Alois, about the service rule. It's always controversial, and we did a ping pod about it a while ago and talked about some options for serving. And Larry Hodges from the USA has proposed a new service rule, and he's modified it slightly. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about his proposal?
I might let you talk about that, Jeffrey. I haven't been through it fully. Totally unprepared. But no, so he said so his proposed rule is that from the start of the service until it is struck, the ball shall be above the level of the playing surface and behind the server's end line, and it shall not be hidden from the receiver. by the server or his doubles partner. I've tested this out at my club along with many others, and it solves the problem. If you try to hide the ball from an opponent in a normal ready position, it's obvious you are hiding the ball from at least part of the net. So I think the main difference there is behind the service line. I'm just trying to pick it up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think before it was.
Yeah, no, I think he's talking about hiding it from any part of the net and its upward extension. But I think that's already in the rule, isn't it?
See, before it was like the serve must be visible to both umpires, or where both umpires would sit. So it kind of opens up that angle, which, yeah, that was his proposal. But he's tried to simplify it. And he said that you require the ball to be visible to the umpire where it sits. Yeah, so that's what he said there. And then he said, sorry, I've just lost it too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's all interesting. And Martin also had an idea, and that was he wanted the players to be within the end lines of the table, is what I can gather from his proposal. So he said, at the moment, a pendulum serve is very suited for hiding the body, but if there is a rule forbidding standing opposite to the table, so I think he means outside of the table lines, as everyone stands, meaning that the left foot matches the right side. So at the moment, that's where it is. Then using hiding the body won't be natural anymore and very risky. So he's talking about serving from directly behind the line of the table. That's also an interesting one. Yeah, so then if you try to turn your body around and hide the ball, you're almost disadvantaging yourself. So yeah, I don't know. It just always gets a little bit murky, doesn't it, with the service rule?
It does, and it needs to be clean and easy to umpire. So yeah, so Larry's new rule, basically, yeah, you think that's already covered in the rules because it says that it must not be hidden from the receiver or any part of the net.
Yeah, well, that's the intention of the rule at the moment, I think, Larry. Yeah,
but maybe it's just hard to understand the way it's worded at the moment.
Yeah, because in a lot of the videos and things that they show demonstrating the intent of the rule, that's basically what they say. I think that that the ball has to be clearly visible to the net or the upper extension of it. So yeah.
Interesting stuff. All right. Well, let's see.
Certainly, there's a lot of good minds out there, and if you've got ideas about the service rule, we'll put it up, and maybe we can make some changes. It'd be really good to try to clean this service rule up because it is such a bugbear. And the other thing, my pet hate with the service rule is the one about throwing the ball backwards. So, either they've got to get rid of the rule or enforce it, because now, like, almost all the players start with their hand over at the middle line and throw it back and hit it from the sideline. So they're throwing it back, half the width of the table and hitting it, which, is almost a natural action. But then at other times they'll pick you up for, throwing the ball backwards, just 30 centimeters or whatever. So yeah, that rule's got to be cleaned up as well. Don't like it.
Certainly does. Interesting. All righty. Well, yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. We'll put a link in the show notes. So just go to pingskills.com and click on the blog link, and you'll find a link to that whole discussion about the service rules. All right, Alois, let's get on to some questions. Ilias asked, or he said, footwork drills that I've seen so far focus solely on lateral movement, for going from side to side. But sometimes an attacking player needs to move in and out. What are the best drills to practice this movement with the attacking strokes?
Yeah, so you're very right, Ilya. A lot of our attention is on the sideways movement, and I suppose that's because most of our movement is sideways. But you do need to be able to move in and out. One that I like to do, and it's not all that easy to practice, is getting someone to block softly and then harder at you. So by blocking soft, they've got to come in and make the top spin, and then when you block harder, you've got to move out and make the top spin. So there's just that movement from out to closer in. The other one that you can practice is, just the movement for the short push or the flick. So moving in with your right foot, making the short ball, and then moving out for the top spin again. So that's also another good footwork movement that you can practice. And I think that one's really easy to practice with multi-ball, getting someone to feed it short, and then feeding the next one long and out. So you're needing to move in and out quickly. Yeah,
good advice, and good to see you thinking about that, Ilya. Now, just a quick plug for the PingSkills Premium membership. We have a 52-week training plan, which we break up into 4-week blocks, focusing on a different area each week. And one of those 4-week blocks is on footwork. And so we do cover a lot of the sideways movement, but we also mention in and out footwork there. So if you're looking to improve your game, consider the PingSkills Premium membership. And there's plenty of other stuff too, like a whole course on serving, receiving. There's match strategy videos, multi-ball videos, sports psychology videos. So plenty of stuff to help you improve your game. So check out pingskills.com and the premium membership. All right. Next question is from David. He says, when performing a serve, are you trying to make it with the maximum speed you're able to produce with your arm and wrist, or are you holding back since it's not really worth it risk versus reward wise? I'm still learning, and if I try to go really fast with my bat, I miss the ball.
Yes. So definitely when you're learning, work at getting as much speed as you can with your racket. Especially, and that's why it's important to have plenty of training time, because you will make lots of mistakes when you're trying to get that bat moving really fast. If you only do it in a match situation, you're going to serve 3 out of 4 faults. You're going to lose every match that you play. So it's important to get out there on the practice table and just practice that. How do you generate the speed? So yes, it is the wrist, it is the forearm, and it's the flicking action. And you need to get a nice big swing at it as well. So if you just do this, you're not going to generate enough speed. Get out there and really rip through it. And as you can see, with that action, to try and then get a good contact is really difficult. It takes a lot of practice. So practice, practice, practice.
Absolutely. Now, I guess that, especially when you're learning, good idea to practice that, but there certainly is some kind of balance. Like, you don't want to have like a full arm swing, do you? Because I think that just makes it too difficult to try, and your bat's moving too far. I think if you limit it more to, your forearm and your wrist, is that going to get you enough speed?
Yes, it will eventually, but I think initially when you're just learning it, I think it's just easier with a bigger arm swing. Just to get the full action, then you can start to shorten it out a little bit and just utilize it's hard to see there, utilize your forearm and your wrist as well. So yes. So, but maybe initially just to get the feel of it, you might get a nice big arm swing at it.
Got it. Excellent. All right, there you go, David. Get out on the table, practice that serve, keep working at it, and you'll start to pick it up. Good to see you practicing such an important skill. Well done, David. All right, now Mike has a question. He says, I really enjoy your website. Thanks, Mike, and the lessons. Thank you for helping me become a better player. I have a very inexpensive table and an inexpensive robot. Which should I upgrade first? Should I buy a new robot or a new table?
Interesting question. I thought about this a lot, and in the end, I decided robot, because I think that can make a big difference to your ability to train. So the table won't make a lot of difference to the ability to train. So if you're upgrading the robot where you can alternate the positions and have variations of positions and that sort of thing and different spins, then I think that's probably more useful for your skill development. The table, the bounce will be a little bit different, up, down, but it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, I don't think. So, yeah, for me, robot.
Interesting question. I like it, Mike, and good to see you taking your game seriously. And I guess it's a personal choice, isn't it? There's a lot of factors like, can you get to a club where you've already got a better table? Do you have practice partners all the time so you don't need a robot and stuff? But there you go. Alois has gone robot. Thanks for the question, Mike, and hopefully that helps you out. Let us know what you choose. All right, Chris has got another equipment question. He says, I've spent about $250 for a Butterfly Inner Force ZLF blade. I've used it for almost a year now, and I was curious, after spending so much on the blade, is there any significance or significant difference with the newer blades? So, yeah, should I get a newer blade? And do you have any tips on maintenance for my year-old blade?
Yeah, so answer to the first question, no. There is no need to change your blade. There's no new brilliant technology that's going to change your game. Just stick with your blade and train harder. So as far as maintenance of your blade, yeah, I think probably the main things are if you can get some edge tape that protects your blade from, especially when you're banging into the table with your pushing especially. Yeah, so the edge tape will protect that. And then the other thing is just when you're removing your rubber and putting new rubber on, just being really careful when you're removing that rubber. So go around the edges slowly and just peel the rubber off slowly and just work your way into the middle. If you just go and rip the rubber off, you're likely to take bits of the blade away as well. So yeah, so just be really careful when you're taking the rubber off. If you do have a little bit of unevenness, it's okay to use some sandpaper or some grit paper just to sand that back a little bit and smooth it off again. So yeah, so that's probably the main things.
Interesting, because in a lot of sports, technology plays a big part and changes the game as time goes on. And I think with table tennis, that has happened, but it's more to do with the rubbers than the blade, is my thoughts. Alois, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely the rubber is changing. But again, it's changing, but I don't think it's changing that quickly. There's not some new rubbers out in the last 3 months or 6 months that are wonderfully better. Tenergy is probably still one of the best rubbers, and that's been out for years now. Yeah, so I don't think it's changed that quickly. I mean, over time, it certainly has changed a lot. But to upgrade from a blade from a year ago to now, no difference. Still made out of wood, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially on the blade side. Great question, Chris. So our recommendation: stick with your current blade. Sounds like a great blade, and yeah, Alois actually had one of his blades for 20 years. So if you look after it, it can do you well. All right. Now, a question from Long, who says, I haven't played table tennis for 3 to 4 months. Do you have a training method for me to get back into the game?
Yeah, so Long, I suppose the main thing initially is just to slow things down, get a bit of consistency, just hit a lot of balls on the table. I think that's the best advice when you're just coming back after a few months break. Often, when we come back, we want to get out there and hit the ball as hard as we can and try all our fancy tricks and things. But yeah, just get out there, just get the feel of the ball. And it might take a week. It might take, 2 or 3 sessions of just playing a little bit more consistently and just being patient and not expecting too much in those first 2 or 3 sessions. But after that, you'll find you'll slip back into things pretty quickly.
Great. Welcome back to the game, Long. It is a fantastic game. Great to see you back and playing. Just remember, get out there and have fun. Awesome. All right, Alois, that wraps up a delayed show 164. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out PingSkills.com and sign up for our free newsletter if you haven't. Great weekly tips. And thank you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
See you, everyone. Bye.